everybody, and welcome to TableTakes. How are we all doing in chat today? I want to see some emotes. Throw it down in there so I can say hello. It is the last week of January, and we're doing good. And oh my goodness, look who's here! Back from traveling the world. Hello, Peter. Welcome back. How have you been? How was your travels?
I'm great, thank you. I'm happy to be back. Yeah, let's see. Well, I went down to Guadalajara for a couple of weeks with my wife just to escape the snow and the rain here in Seattle and have some amazing, excellent Mexican food while we were down there. Also, came back and then I would have been here last week, but I had a huge hardware failure with my computer. Happens to all of us. But yes, happy to be back. Thank you, Bonsai.
Oh, the machine won last week. That's all. It's just Peter, you got to keep. That's why you have to fight it every week.
Absolutely. Never relentless, never give up.
Also, hey, speaking of which, I see a familiar face from last week. Anita, how was your week?
My week has been good. Hello, everybody. I'm here to squash the rumors that Peter had a facelift. And I'm back again this week. My week has been pretty good. My cats have been chaotic with the full moon. My house has, we've got a guest in the house this week. Our friend is visiting. And other than that, I had a job interview. That was cool.
Ooh. Sending positive waves. I hope it went really, really well.
Good luck.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah. Well, we always like to see people making their lives and getting that bread, doing the gigs, all the things. Also, hey, Javion, it looks like you have like a very contemplated face. Did you get a lot of sleep last night? You just feeling like you look like you're thinking about something.
I'm thinking about a lot of things, Bonsai. I am starting a lot of new RPG campaigns for the new year. I convinced my players to try out Wilder Feast, which is that game we reported on last year. It's not fully done with development yet, but it's basically Monster Hunter as an RPG, which is super fun. I'm also going to be doing a new Spelljammer campaign, and I've never done Spelljammer, but thankfully there's a module, Light of Xerxes, that I'll be running, so don't have to do too much there. And also, I have been watching a show called The Curse, because it has one of my favorite actors ever in it. His name's Nathan Fielder, and also Emma Stone is co-starring. And the whole idea is that they're going to a neighborhood and gentrifying it, but they're progressive and very, very socially conscious. So even as they're kicking people out of their homes, they'll still buy them jeans and help subsidize, not pay, just subsidize their rent. So that way they don't have to pay anything more than what they originally did before they kicked them out. It's a really funny show.
It sounds so funny the way they put it. Well, I just have
also,
to.
I'm very disturbed by the show itself. I won't spoil anything, but I highly recommend everybody watch it. And just let me know what you think when you're done.
Yeah, so if you have, please message Javion after watching The Curse to discuss about The Curse. Javion really wants to know, so please go message Javion. Oh, I have been very productive. Also, you guys remember last week we were talking about the D&D children's book? Well, boom, boom, look what came into the mail. Actually, I liked it. Really good. My only thing was I wish it was a board book, because I like a lot of the artwork. The artwork is good. Look, like owl bears and all that jazz. And I have a little one who's not even a year yet. And they're gonna rip these. And I don't want this ripped. I'm being very conscious about it. But like, can I get this in board book so I don't have to worry about it getting ripped? I like it. It's good. I like the art. Please produce more. That's my comment. Also been playing some very little known game called Pal World. If you guys know, you know. And I'm having fun going around beating thugs with a bat while trying to save my pals. All the pals. That's what you do. You just run around. Anywho, besides that, I think we should go ahead. I feel pressed to go in and start with the first article of the day. Peter, do you feel a little pressure or press about something going? Very daring that idea.
Oh, I see. Yeah, daring. Yeah. But first, I just want to say two things that have nothing to do with my article. One, how cool would it be to have bonsai for a mother? I mean, I envy your child. I think you're going to be you are probably already and will be the best mom ever. And two,
Ooh.
Anita, you're right. I did not get a facelift, but first time showing this on screen, I got a tattoo. Oh,
Is that your
heck
first
yeah.
tat?
Wow.
yeah, I got a
Inked
tattoo.
up.
It's a hat.
It's a hat. It's a rhinestone
yeah.
cowboy hat. Woohoo!
Aw, to
Nice.
There,
commemorate
now it's
the
better in focus. There we
the
go.
Vegas trip. Aw.
I got it, and I got it here in Seattle, at the Seattle Tattoo Emporium. Huh.
Awesome.
First ever get tattoo. So
Hey,
woohoo.
congrats
So
on your first inked.
there you go. There you go.
Welcome to the addiction.
Yeah, welcome to the addiction.
That's good to have all sleeve.
Well, I've been wanting one for like 20 years, but I always said I would not get a tattoo until I had an idea for a tattoo that I still liked 5 years later.
Wow.
Oh wow, that's commitment.
Yeah, well, I better like it for at least 5 years, right? Can't like it
Yeah.
for 5 years, don't get it forever. All right, let me talk about this article is brought to us by Chase Carter at Dicebreaker. And it's a spooky cooperative board game that is a spinoff of Betrayal at House on the Hill. And where in this game they will trade room tiles for embossed cards. In the upcoming standalone spinoff, Betrayal Deck of Lost Souls. We're a little unclear whether it's Betrayal Deck of Lost Souls or Betrayal, Deck of Lost Souls. Publisher Avalon Hill Games revealed the much smaller box of spooks for on the company's Twitter account last week, explaining that more information will be released in February ahead of a full launch sometime in March. Details are slim. Avalon Hill described Betrayal Deck of Lost Souls, or Betrayal Deck of Lost Souls, as a cursed deck of cards and a speed run of terror and chaos condensed down into something that fits into a backpack or pocket. Deck of Lost Souls might play, this is speculation now, like a quick and lightweight version of Betrayal at House on the Hill, where players explore a labyrinthine mansion and pick up clues, omens, and items until one of their numbers transformed into a traitor by supernatural forces. Or maybe not. Now it's in its third edition, Betrayal at House on the Hill is a favorite amongst cooperative board game fans and those who like thrills alongside their meeples and map tiles. It's also kind of interesting that Board Game Geek forum users first spotted Betrayal Deck of Lost Souls as a pre-purchase listing by Canadian tabletop retailer 401 Games, alongside something called the Pennywise Papers. Well, I don't know if that was planned or not on the part of the publishers, but now the game itself is a mystery game, and there's a mystery about the game, apparently. Get it? All right. Yeah. Yeah, okay, that was lame. There you go.
No, it still looks cool. I'm excited. Like that was introduced Betrayal on House on Hill. If you guys remember, we have some Let's Plays. If you guys look back on our YouTube and our VODs here on Twitch about it. Anita, Javion, and Noir and I were all playing that game. And I honestly really enjoyed it. And so it's cool to see that they're getting kind of like a new revamp almost.
I think it is a good game. I think it's a great game if there's somebody that really understands the game really, really well. Like, they can be kind of confusing in the middle of the game to like try to figure out the mechanics for the person who got turned. Anyway, but yeah, it's cool.
Well, yeah, no, it is very hauntingly good. But you know what? I feel like we gotta for the ethereal spirits, we gotta go ahead. If we want to see them, we gotta step into the future of VR. Tell us a little bit about it, Anita.
So Dungeons and Dragons is adventuring into its very first virtual reality game. Thanks to Chase Carter over at Dicebreaker for this article. Wizards of the Coast has licensed its massively popular tabletop RPG to Demio, who are the Demio developers Resolution Games, in order to create their very first official licensed VR game set in the Forgotten Realms. Not much is known as of yet, but it is slated for future release. Resolution Games got the attention of the tabletop world previously for Demio and the sequel to Demio as well, because that is a turn-based dungeon crawler that is actually very heavily inspired by Dungeons and Dragons. So it'll be interesting to see what they actually end up doing with official IP. I'm very excited to see this show up at my local VR shop, because VR is very cool. It's a very expensive hobby. So having more shops that are like a little bit more accessible, that have access to these, will be pretty cool to see.
So it's not going to be just D&D played out in VR, right? Like you can already do that in Tabletop Simulator. You're talking about like a whole video game where you're going through a dungeon. Is that right?
So their previous entries into the VR space, it was a multiplayer game called Demio, which was a turn-based dungeon crawler. So you and your party would venture in through a dungeon. I think it was up to 4 players, and you would fight monsters and solve traps and that sort of thing. So it's not quite sure what they're going to be doing with the official Forgotten Realms property, but it'll be fun to see.
Yeah, I think it's kind of like a true dungeon sort of thing.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure if there's going to be like a role for the dungeon master, or if that's just going to be played out by the environment itself. But yeah, I'm really interested because the team seems very passionate about it. They talk at length about how much they absolutely love Dungeons and Dragons. And like, this is obviously, if they're passionate about it, they should be putting out something pretty good.
It sounds really cool to me, especially because, like, I don't know if you've seen, there is like you were saying, Ania, there are a lot of facilities out there that if you do not have the technology or the computer or RAM to have your own VR set, there are areas that you can go in and, like, you know, rent a room for an hour and just like play around in there in VR with your friends and family, up to like 5 people or something like that, depending on the area space.
Yeah, my local VR place, Redline, also has a Dungeons and Dragons night, so it's like the perfect marriage of like, you could do the VR and you can do the D&D at the same time, the same night if you want.
There you go. Very nice. I like hearing that. But you want to know, I know this is off tangent. I'm just going to say it just really quick. I love that we like VR, but we need to go back to augmented reality, okay? Augmented reality is the better one to go in. You don't need to have big old things. You could just have really cool glasses that digitally put in, you know? All right, augmented reality, that's the real true path, not the VR, okay? Want augmented. All right, sorry. That was just my little rant, you know? And I was a little rebel right there.
You're
just
really rebelling against my article.
I'm sorry. Well, it's only because of the next article, Rebel Moon RPG from Evil Genius and Netflix series. Thank you for Jeffrey Dome Sanchez for bringing this up from ICV2. So I don't know if you guys have ever watched on Netflix. There is this Rebel Moon, which is supposed to be the rated R version of Star Wars that just came out. And well, Netflix hired Evil Genius to produce and publish a TT RPG, or how did you call that, Javon? How would you say it?
Tater pigs.
Tater pigs. But yes, so we're trying a new way to say TTRPG without just saying the t-t-t-ts. So if you have some suggestions in chat on how we want to pronounce this, tater pugs.
Pugs? Pigs?
Yes.
Tater for sure.
Bug.
Tater
Bug. We're trying to find something new. But yes. So based off of their newly released Rebel Moon, when the film was released, though, Netflix canceled the license, citing confidentiality breaches with Evil Genius and Evil Genius. In response to that, like, basically it was like, we're going to take you to court. And now Evil Genius has sent out an update basically to all of their folks, announcing that they reached a settlement. We don't know the terms of the settlement because, of course, the law, how it works, and probably what they agreed as the settlement was. But the Rebel Moon game, they just unfortunately will not be published. But Evil Genius just happens to be simultaneously announcing that they're going to have an upcoming sci-fi project. It's not going to be Rebel Moon, but they are going to be releasing their own game coming out very soon. So, and good news for the retailers who pre-ordered will be getting issued refunds right away. So what do y'all think about this?
Starter plugs.
Starter plugs.
Tartar pugs.
I'm still back on the what do we call these things, Bonsai? You got my mind going.
I know we gotta think of all how are we gonna fit this in the box. But I mean, I watched Rebel Moon. I enjoyed it, but I mean, I will say that it was good and I like the characters, but there's some holes. I'm being snooty. I'm being snooty about it.
It was a movie.
It was a movie. It wasn't good, but it wasn't bad. It was
I
a movie.
think it's pretty impressive that they are managing to get a whole RPG system based off of it. It must have had some kind of popularity either before or now.
It's a Zack
because
Snyder
it's-
production, so there was a lot of the Snyder Bros attached to it, I'm thinking.
I mean, I've seen a lot of IPs out there get absolutely no RPG treatment, and I've seen a lot of things that don't deserve getting their own RPG, having their own RPGs out there. So the fact that they got their own RPG, they should be proud of that for sure.
Oh well, but they didn't. They didn't actually get their own RPGs. They was take it back. They said no. We JK, just kidding. But
Got
it. Well, in
at
any
least it was
case,
almost made.
it was
They got
almost
close.
made. They got close. But yes, you guys can have your own opinions about that. That's just our thing. You know what actually is like a really, really good show? Javion, do you know? I feel like you would know. It's not only a successful comic book, but TV show, Amazon Prime. Tell us more about it.
Have you ever heard of Invincible? The hero who is invincible, but not for the reasons you think. He's a superhero, very popular comic series. I own all 3 of the compendiums of all of the comics. And it was turned into an Amazon series not too long ago, last year. And the second season has been slowly coming out as well. So naturally, there are some board games. There's a dice game, there is a hidden identity game, and now Direwolf has released, or is going to be releasing, the Invincible hero building game. It is a co-op game in which you are trying to save the planet by doing a bunch of different missions, 7 of them, where you're sort of free to go about how you please, engaging enemies however you want to, as early and as often as you want, while also building a bag full of goodies that you'll pull out and push your luck and try to hope that you pull out the right stuff as you play. There's not too many details about the actual mechanics of the game, but we do know that you're going to be building out a tableau, upgrading your skills and abilities as you go along, and fighting lots of baddies. You also get to play as some of the titular characters, such as Invincible, of course, as well as Robot, a super genius semi-robot person, no spoilers. Rex Splode, who's a guy that can explode stuff, and he's also kind of a jerk. And then there's Adam Eve, who can manipulate the atoms and the essence of chemistry throughout the entire universe and remake it and reshape it at her will. It's a terrifying ability I would not saddle on my worst enemy. But it makes for super entertaining show, comic book, and now board game. This board game, the hero building game of Invincible, is for 1 to 4 players, ages 14 and up, and is going to retail for $55. I've been seeing a lot of games at that price point, around the sort of like $40 to $60. Without seeing the actual game on the table, it's always like a really telltale sign they're putting a lot of stuff inside it. We don't have like a list of components yet, but almost universally, if you're going to have a price point like that, it's typically due to the amount of time that goes into the minis and miniatures and customized tiles and tokens and dice and all of the different set pieces that they add in. So I think that's it's a good sign. It's not always an indicator of quality. It's just an indicator of lots of content. So we'll have to wait until later next month in February this year in order to find out more. I don't know if you guys have. Oh, sorry. Excuse me. April is when the hero building co-op bag building game, the hero building game, is coming out. But later in February, the Skybound Tabletop is releasing a different Invincible game. Thank you, Jeffrey Dome Sanchez, for this article. I don't know if you guys have actually gotten a chance to engage with Invincible, the comics, the show, any of the games at all, but I highly recommend it. It's super fun.
I agree with Javion. I would say that the show did really better, like with a lot of the characters, better than the comic book series. That's just my personal opinion. I think they did a little bit better because some of the characters in the comic book are kind of like, I don't like it. I like the better casting in the TV series, you know.
Yeah, that's fair. There's a lot of that. You're gonna see that in a lot of adaptations. From the first iteration to the second, there's a lot of changes like that. I definitely see where you're coming from, and I wouldn't say you're alone. I think a lot of people agree with you.
But yes, you know what? I feel like other than heroes, we need to look maybe beyond heroes and like maybe towards a fantasy realm. What do you think, Anita?
Well, allow me to unroll that for you, Bonsai, with D&D Beyond's 2023 Unrolled. So that is it's a listicle that Dungeons and Dragons D&D Beyond has put out for this year. It is a highlight of the achievements that the community from D&D Beyond has put out. Countless battles with monsters, legions of new adventurers setting forth on quests. There's some really interesting statistics that they've managed to put out. Some highlights include that the maps, which were released in alpha in September, saw a huge growth, with over 180 million characters or NPCs created, and over 88 million monsters fought or befriended. There's also stats about their charity initiatives. They had a little bit of a collaboration with Extra Life, and that saw some contributions from over 37,000 players. Also, they released the Origins characters for Baldur's Gate as actual playable character sheets, and Gale was the most popular Baldur's Gate 3 character. His character sheet was downloaded more than any of the others. Some other fun stats from D&D Beyond is that if you, by chance, I don't know, play a level 4.77 human fighter named Bob, who is also 28 years old, congratulations, you're the most popular character on D&D Beyond.
I love that.
But yeah, there's a lot of some very fun. This came from D&D Beyond directly, and they've also got some top articles that they posted throughout the year. The Wild Shape Guide for Druids, probably through the D&D movie, because you can't, rules as written, turn into an owlbear, but we all want to turn into an owlbear.
I agree. Owlbear's best form. But yeah, so I mean, do you all have any like beloved NPC characters that you guys remember in your game? Especially Javion, you're a dungeon master, or GM, so you got to have some out of pocket characters.
Are you talking? Sorry, did you say NPC or PC? NPCs.
And NPCs, non-player characters that you like.
Oh man, there's so many good ones to choose from.
I do. I got to play her just last week. I have this formerly a PC, but retired, became an NPC, Ariadne, this elven demigoddess character she's very petty, she's very chaotic, she's very crazy. I love whenever I play her, it's great.
I have a fire genasi with a chef background. His name is Guy Fiery.
I remember you mentioned that one.
Yeah. So he's a guild artisan chef.
That's awesome.
Sorcerer.
Fire.
Sorcerer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. I
As a
had
real wizard in
one.
the kitchen.
I had one that wasn't my own. It's actually from White Plume Mountain, which is part of the
Mm.
Yawning Portal. It's one of the sentient weapons. I believe it might have been the sword or the hammer. I can't remember, but I gave it like a parrot voice, and that's what everybody loved about it. And
Oh my god.
in order to attune to it, you had to laugh at their terrible jokes about like wizards and clerics and paladins. I won't. I will spare you any of those terrible jokes now, but you can imagine it was. They were considering not getting a sentient weapon after.
Those are the best kinds of sentient weapons. The ones that you're like, oh, maybe I don't want a sentient weapon. I feel like, yeah, no, there's a lot of weapons that a lot of people like, especially like if you get them in multiples, you can get like 3 of them and go. What do you think, Javion? Since you're talking about sentient weapons, how do you feel about multiple blades?
Multiple
Maybe.
blades. That's a good question. I like having more than one blade. It seems so do the folks over at the Karlov Manor. This next article comes from again Jeffrey Dome Sanchez of ICV2. If you're a fan of Magic the Gathering, you probably heard about the new set Murders at Karlov Manor, which has finally given us some visual spoilers where you can see a bunch of Clue related cards. Clue like Cluedo, like that old board game about solving a murder mystery. Well, now there is an actual board game in development by Beetle and Grimm's called The Case of the Three-Blade Knife, which is straight from Murders at Karlov Manor. So it's a murder mystery themed game releasing in February next month. So it's exactly what you think. It's solving a murder. So you assume the role of a Rammy, I believe is how you say this. I'm not sure. You analyze evidence. You take a look at different characters, witness statements, autopsy reports, and all that different stuff, trying to solve the murder. I'm told that this is something that people like doing, that they do often. I've done a few myself, not for a while, and definitely not as a board game in a while. It's usually a big production where everybody's at a big party and assuming different roles. But it looks like in this game, you get an investigator's badge that connects to a smartphone via an app to reveal different like hidden ciphers within the evidence. So if you've ever played any of those escape games in a box, like Exit or Unlock, this has like some similar themes to it, except you're solving a murder, which I'm sure is like one of those different mini games you can find out there. Now, what's cool about this is that you don't need any prior knowledge about MTG, the Ravnica setting, in order to play it. You can just open up the box and have a good time. It plays in about 1 to 2 hours, and it's going to retail for about $49.99. So I guess we'll have to wait to see more and keep an eye out on those spoilers for the actual set of Murders at Karlov Manor. Just so you know, I looked through a bunch of them. You do get to play the rope, the wrench, all of those murder weapons, and you can also play a murder card and just do the murder, which is really funny. You can just destroy any creature, but then everybody knows who did it, so it's like there's no mystery anymore. So I think that's really funny.
I mean, I will say though, murder mysteries, at least my experiences, is that's how you get into fights. If you want to fight somebody for no reason, just be like, you know what? I feel like having murder mystery party. It's all fun and games until you do the sneaky, like at the end of the session, we'll declare who's died, and everyone accuses you of being the bad person, and you're not. You're not. Not.
That sounds like something the imposter would say.
It's the imposter. But no. I mean, how your experiences, like, Javon, I can hear mixed bag in your opinion about these murder mysteries. Anita, Peter?
I love a good murder mystery. And Beetle and Grimm's is known for doing like deluxe editions of a lot of the Dungeons and Dragons sets as well. I know they include like really cool maps and handouts and like tokens and things. So it'll be interesting to see this little murder mystery game that they're putting together.
I mean, I like a mystery in a game, and then a murder mystery in a game. I don't like some of the sort of like LARP style ones where at some point everybody stops role playing and it just gets into a big like analytical discussion
Mm.
type thing, you know? I mean, I like it at the beginning when everybody's role playing their character.
Mm-hmm. So
There's a
Peter's
point that people get to where you overthink everything. I get.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
understand.
it becomes a big debate about what,
paranoia. That's when it settles in. That's that would be a great murder mystery that turns into like a Cthulhu game because everyone's just paranoid. Like, no, I did see this. This is exactly what happens. But yeah, just stay in character. That's Peter's opinion.
yeah,
Stay in character.
that's right.
But yeah, if you're out there, you always have to stay in character, and you know, if there's royalty, you always have to bow down to what? The queen. Speaking of queens, Peter, do you have something to say about them?
Absolutely, but I do want to say I really want to hear Javion tell a story about clerics and wizards and thieves in a parrot voice.
I'll give you a little private joke
Oh,
session later.
Okay,
I thought you were gonna
okay.
give it now. I was like,
All right. Well, then I will cover our feature article from Alex Meehan of Dicebreaker and Darrington Press. Okay, that's what you were setting me up for earlier, Bonds. I apologize. I got my articles in the wrong order. The publishing studio that handles Critical Role tabletop games is releasing a new version of the storytelling card game For the Queen. Originally published in 2019 by Evil Hat Productions, the company responsible for releasing tabletop role-playing games Blades in the Dark. For the Queen is a card game created by Alex Roberts in which players become retainers, servants, and confidants for a fictional matriarch. The game is entirely driven by the cards that are drawn and the decisions made by the players in response to them. At the beginning of the game, players can decide what kind of queen they are serving and the roles they have in her court. Players then embark on a long and possibly perilous journey with the monarch before ultimately choosing whether to support her or lead her to her death. Throughout the game, players will take turns drawing cards, reading out the text, and making decisions in response. There is no win state for any of the players. Instead, the game ends when a specific card is drawn from the deck, with everyone deciding the final fates of their own characters. The upcoming second edition of For the Queen will feature new artwork, packaging, and prompt cards, as well as 25 different Queen illustrations to choose from when starting each game. A collection of 6 promotional cards for the Queen, second edition, based on the characters featured in one of the Darrington Press's previous titles, Queen by Midnight, will be available from Darrington Press Guild stores. For the Queen, second edition is set to be released on May 14th from Darrington Press Guild stores, local game stores, and Critical Role's online shops.
mm-hmm. The
By the way,
artwork is.
I played this game several times. It's a great game. It's a fantastic game. So, nice job, Alex Roberts. Great to see the game get a facelift, all that stuff. Good.
Mm-hmm. I'd say the game is beautiful looking. And such. I didn't specifically play this game, but I played story games like this where you get cards and then you make up the story plot depending on the prompt and questions. I think Anita, you're the one who has played For the Queen before.
I have played it once a long time ago, but yeah, it's very fun. It's a really good game. You get some like very beautiful and kind of heartbreaking stories out of it. And For the Queen also has its own system resource document, so there's a lot of By the Queen games that are sort of built off of the back of the original, at least. It'll be interesting to see if they can implement these new mechanics into a secondary SRD for it.
Mm-hmm. That'd be good. What about you, Javion? Any experience with these types of games?
I've seen games like For the King, but I haven't actually played For the Queen. I know I saw it all the time back when I worked in my retail days, and definitely people were really into it back then. it's cool that's getting its own little, revamp. I'm sure people are really excited for that too.
Well, all right then. It's like we'll just have to see how it looks when now that they have all the pretty artwork and all the pretty cards. And hopefully we can get somebody to give us hands on for the queen. Because it'd be interesting to try to play. Also, this next article, I'm gonna go ahead and present my rabbit hole of this week. This is something that I went like just a little going on about. So our source is some random person on Reddit. Thank you, random person on Reddit, for bringing this article up. They have a lot of sources, but this is something that is not going to be a surprise to a lot of people. It's been happening for a while, but it's been more noticeable nowadays, especially because I don't know if you remember, last week we were talking about how the publishers of Kelp brought to folks' attention that there are some really like there's like fakes out there before their pledges got copies. So they're like, hey, why do these people on this format, counterfeits of TTRPGs are spreading into the scene. So the problem now hitting if you guys don't remember, we talked about counterfeits before in these games, and it's mostly counterfeits that have to deal with board games. I'm bringing up like counterfeits that are having to do with like small publishers for tabletop RPGs. So like I said, this was brought to my attention by some random person on Reddit, and I went down the rabbit hole to go ahead and check out. So this is something that is it first started on like their investigation was about a hardcover version of Cyberpunk 2020 that they wanted to buy on eBay, only to discover that, lo and behold, Cyberpunk 2020 was never printed in hardcover. These sites, these sites go in, especially like on eBay and such, they go in trying to sell you these copies that are used but like new to get people hooked in to this. So more onto that. Tollerson Games is still actively publishing the soft cover of Cyberpunk 2020. But these fake books are listed, like I said, as used but like new conditions, and it's in order to fool people into thinking they're getting older copies of what are actually just straight off print to press kind of thing. These counterfeit copies have been a problem in the past, but typically only for the largest games and big releases. But now you got stuff coming out that are for smaller games, smaller releases, but are still like very in terms of certain people and certain collectors are something that people want to get. Black Chrome is the newest supplement of Cyberpunk Red, and it's only available in hardcover, but somehow you can get a softcover version or a perfect paperback, which Anita thankfulully worked as a printer, or not printer, but a person in the printing industry. Can you remind me what a perfect paperback is, Anita?
So anything that's perfect bound is usually just plain white paper with another like a cardstock, usually wraparound cover with just glue on the spine, which is like the edge of your book. It can usually be done with it's more like a higher end office printer. But for something like this, if you're spending $35 for it on Amazon, it's definitely a print on demand. They're probably making about $30, $32 on this. Like the actual printing of the book costs them nothing, especially if it's a vanity press that's doing print on demand for them.
Yeah. So as you can see, it's an issue. The issue, of course, isn't just isolated to Cyberpunk either. There are fakes of Gamma World, Mordhelm, Star Trek RPG Boot Hill, which of course you can get a 1978 original copy of Boot Hill, but mysteriously in hardcover for only $60. What? A game that never got released in hardcover, but somehow you can get this classic for only $60.
All of these are only $60.
Yeah,
like
only
they're all
$60.
exactly $60.
It's the magic number. But yeah, like given the very long shipping times listed, it's most likely, like Anita's saying, these are print-on-demand books that are being printed and then drop shipped to folks who ordered them with high-quality prints and PDF. Like basically, when print-on-demand and people selling their stuff via Humble Bundles and stuff, It's very easy to get the actual digital copies. It's more or less people having to go in and reformatting cover for either soft cover or hardcover books, because you do have to make a spine. But yeah, this is just kind of the other gimmicks seems to be taking license, print on demand classics like the OD&D White Box, Gamma World First Edition, Red Box Rules, the Cyclopedia, just a bunch of them, just releasing them on eBay for a $60 price. So I don't know. How do you feel about all of these fakes going around? Oh, Peter,
I
you
just
gotta
want to say my white box set is not fake.
Oh wow.
Oh, there you go.
This was gifted to me by one of the men in the title, Dave Arneson. He said, "Do you have a
Wow.
white box set, Peter?" I said, "No." Here, now you do. Nice.
Makes
Mhm.
sense. I would
I-
expect nothing
I-
less.
I'd be interested to see if they actually paid the person that this artist on this original copy of the white box.
Oh, that's probably a lame mirror. Yeah, I don't
Well,
know.
it's hard to say. I mean, like, for people, I guess it is something that there is a saying that maybe there are people who are like kind of on demand, like, oh, I really would like this in hardcover, or oh, I really would like this in softcover. So there is a kind of demand, but also some of these places are actually selling softcover, are actually currently still selling these for folks. And like Anito is pointing out, like, what about the artists that originally made it? Do they still get a cut of this or no? Oh my goodness.
Definitely not.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, I'm just reading the eBay listing for the white box. This reprint is an unread, perfect bound copy that is made to order. Any fold-out maps, if any, that were included in the original print are separated and bound all together as an 8.5 by 11 page. So this one at least tells you that it's a reprint, obviously. Like, the art that's on the box is definitely not original, as per Peter, who just held up an actual white box, and I need to plan a heist to Peter's house. Never mind.
Yeah, hold on to that. Keep that safe, Peter.
I will. Yeah. Well,
Wear gloves next time.
This is what's inside, by the way.
Oh. Yeah, because it like the one in eBay is not a white box. It just is. It has color. All right. If it's gonna say it's a white box, it has to be a white box. All right. But yes. Yeah, no, and it looks like folks in chat were saying that it is kind of sad looking at stuff, but it's like that it's not the problem that it isn't that it's print on demand. It's the problem is that they're saying used. Like they're kind of like being sneaky and sketchy about it. And that's where the
But
issue
and
lies.
even if they don't say, even if they just say, "Hey, here's a hardbound copy of this book of this game," without actually saying that it's you know what I mean? Just you could kind of get around it, but even then, you're printing for commercial use a product that's trademarked. So you've got intellectual property law violations as well. So.
Oh yeah. Well, with that piece of information floating around in your head, that is it for Table Takes. I want you guys to go down my rabbit hole of eBay and all these fakes. But you know what? I feel like it is time to display our crowdfunder court.
Woohoo!
Dun dun.
Dun dun. Oh. So here we go again, folks.
Welcome to Crowdfunder Court. Here come the judges. Prepare to be judged. All right, court is now in session.
Hear ye, upon this crowdfunder court. I call upon Javion. Please tell us what you have for us today.
Your Honor, I have for you a one of a kind, a once in a lifetime opportunity to finally change the landscape of board gaming. You see,
Ooh.
what we're used to in our fantasies, in our magical worlds, seeing a lot of monsters and creatures being killed. Wouldn't you say? People of the jury, I implore you. look into your hearts. What is there? Is there a Bigfoot? Perhaps a Loch Ness monster? Something far more eerie, in fact? Let's take a look at this Kickstarter here. It's called Cryptic Nature. In this game, you are competing not to subjugate and slay these creatures that you are investigating, but rather to build habitats for them, preserve their natural ecosystem, and protect it from outside forces who would seek to do them harm. Explore the world using custom dice, tokens, and a bunch of meeples on a massive board with a huge scale. A fresh blend of different mechanics and some top-notch components, such as magnetic tokens and tiles that you're placing on your personalized boards where you're creating these habitats for cryptids. It's got a lot of replayability. It's got tons of cryptids, over 60 of them, in fact. You might just learn about cryptids you never even heard of before. From lots and lots of different cultures as well. They really did a great job designing all of the different components in a way that pops out. As far as table presence goes, they nailed it. There are lots of different stretch goals and different tiers for you to take a look at. The whole box is filled with all these different cards and really high quality components. So the whole aspect of the game, placing tiles and moving around with your different little Sasquatch meeples and your explorers and stuff like that is really cool. Definitely check it out. If you want to get the all-in deluxe bundle, it's about $131. But if you just want the base game, it's $46, converted into EU pounds. So definitely check it out. It's got 25 days left to go, and there is plenty to see from the creators, ID Venture, who have created a bunch of other projects as well. So definitely check those out too. But yeah, looks like they're already fully funded, well past their goal of 10K, up to 200K right now. So definitely check it out. You've got 25 days left.
Thank you, Javion, for I approve of this because I do not like killing the cryptids. I like save the cryptids. So if we save the cryptid, all lives will be great. Now, next up to plate, since Javion is safe. Peter, it's been a while since you've been. Do you have any to present? Any delectables?
Yes, Your Honor, I do. We would like to present for the court Jewels for the Emperor Penguin. This is a campaign on a Kickstarter. It has raised $23,000 so far versus a goal of $10,000, and it has 14 days to go. Jewels of the Emperor Penguin is from game designer Jeff Tidball, On the Edge fame and Atlas Games fame. And it features penguin meeples, Emperor Penguin meeples, of course, on a board of tiles. You have 5 penguins numbered 1 through 5. You also have 6-sided dice, 1 for each of the penguins from 1 to 5, plus a wild face on the dice. On your turn, you choose a die from your dice pool and move the matching penguin. Or you use a wild die to move any penguin. And if the larger penguin moves into a small penguin, it bumps it. You can just kind of imagine the penguin doing boop, and bumps its friend and it gets another move. Tiles have rewards like gems and jewelry, which Emperor penguins really like, I guess. And whoever collects the most of these valuables wins the game. Also, there's a super cool stretch goal with this, a penguin plush with a backpack. That's right. Also, Your Honor, I love the movie March of the Penguins. I thought that was a really good movie.
All right. I think that plush really did save it for me. Whenever you offer a plushie, I like plushies. Especially March of the Penguin is also good. And Happy Feet. I approve. Now,
Thank you.
Up for debate is Anita. What did you bring for us to feast upon with our eyes? Oh, Anita, you are muted.
People of the court, it's a deep and dark dungeon down there. And it might not be fair on a little mouse, but if you are cautious and maybe a little daring and reckless, you may be able to retrieve unnumbered riches as you delve for long enough. you may just uncover the greatest treasure of all mankind deep within the tomb of 1,000 doors. This is a Kickstarter by Matthew Morris, a creator of Manadon tabletop games, and this is a mega dungeon for the rules light fantasy adventure Mouse Ritter. The Tomb of 1,000 Doors is a mega dungeon campaign setting that has over 30 unique dungeons, all connected in a massive labyrinthine structure. It's hundreds of hours of gameplay to your table, courtesy of the Mouse Reader third-party community. And it's got some very cute art in it. They were able to fund this in 7 hours, and you got 7 days left to back this. Beautiful art, 38 keyed dungeon locations, 250 rooms, so much more. There's even 6 species of magical mushroom in this wonderful dungeon. It's very, very fun, and I haven't had the chance to play Mouse Ritter, but this actually might get me on board with this mega dungeon for Mouse Ritter.
Ooh, very, very nice. I like this. It gives me very much Redwall plus horror plus endless dungeon, and I like the mouse. They're very cute, and also the art is very like it's cute, but also like ew at the same time. You know,
Yeah.
it's like it hits a certain spot.
You can
And
play a mouse or a Lilliputian, which is a little human, or you can play a fairy.
Ooh, I like these options. I approve. Seal of approval from Bonsai. You know, now that you have all shared yours, it'd only be fair if I shared mine for folks to look upon. For you, the court, the judges, all of ye people around here, I have for you Explorers of Navoria. It's an immersive tableau building and worker placement game which is set in a rich fantasy world. 1, super cute. That's what appeals to me. 2, colors. And also, I'm a sucker for worker placement games. I have a bunch of them. And also the artwork itself, you looking at this, you're like, oh, this must be another Root game, but I guess they turned up the color saturation. It is not another game from the creators of Root. It's actually an entirely different team. But the mechanics of the game are neat. It's 1 to 4 players, but if you buy their expansion that they already are included in the Kickstarter, it can play up to 5. Each round, players take turns taking 2 random action tokens corresponding with 2 different types of cards. They choose 1 card to take a type of card and then set the other one in a shared space on the board. Other players can then draw from either taking randomly or taking one that has already been displayed for everyone to see until all the tokens or the taken tokens. Oh, sorry. After the card draw is over, players can take turns reverse order, turning the remaining tokens as a shared pool of workers. So it's kind of a co-op game. This way, there's a strange shift of balance between like you being either the first player or the last player, because you're always switching between that. And anyone who's in the middle is just like a middle child. Sorry, that's the game. But yeah. So it ends Wednesday, February 7th. And if you are interested in these kind of worker placement tableau building games, this is the game for you. Explorers of Navoria. But yes, folks, I believe that is it for us on Table Takes. And you know what, Peter, since it's been a while since you've been here, I feel like you should end the show with your beautiful voice and beautiful face and beautiful words.
Oh, well, thank you, Bonsai. Yes, this concludes another gobsmackingly good episode of Table Takes, but don't go far. In just a couple hours at 5 p.m. Pacific, we have Sarah's Table, where Sarah will run Sentai and Sensibility, which will begin with a quick chat with the creator in advance of the launch of their crowdfunding campaign. On Peter versus the Machine, I will continue playing my newest Civ 6 game as England, where I plan in the next episode to use King Arthur to turn 4 scouts into questing knights and see if I can wipe out Germany. Monday, 9 a.m. Pacific. Back on Gen Con TV after a hiatus, a Dress to Quest, where the party narrowly avoids a bludgeoning from a mysteriously aggressive trout. yes, I fact-checked this. In fact, yes, it's a trout. Monday, 6 p.m. Pacific. On Indie by Night, the coterie continues to research how best to remove a critical piece of the Camarilla from the chessboard. Tuesday, 7 p.m. Pacific. Also, join Rick Ankney and guests while they paint miniatures on Path of the Brush, Wednesday at 4 p.m. Pacific. On Actoroki next week, Mike Boozer, yes, that Mike Boozer, will return to DM The Nearly Departed, set in the world of Chaldea, 6 p.m. Pacific. On Blood of the Clock Tower, it is back, by the way, with Jams, running it up. So excited to have it back. Thursday, 10 a.m. Pacific, followed by some blood on the keyboard in the form of Shadowrun from Roll with Rim at 5 p.m. Pacific. Then Friday at 2 p.m. Pacific, we are back here for TableTakes. Thank you so much to the Gen Con TV crew, Marcus Mace, Steve Connard, Sarah Moore, Tanel Lovett. Thanks to my delightful co-hosts, Javion, Bonsai Baby, and Anita. And thanks most of all to all of you for watching and hanging out with us in chat. Remember, follow Gen Con TV for more of the best 4 days in gaming all year long, right here on twitch.tv/GenConTV. And by follow, I mean, please click the follow button. Thank you very much. All right. Have a great weekend. Goodbye.
Bye.